If you haven't followed the podcast yet and don't know who I am Chris Wright, the head of PUBS Advisory Service here in the UK. I provide insights into the UK pubs trade, speak with other experts, share experiences and stories from publicans across the country. Along the way, exploring different pubs, how they are run, and speaking with the operators. Podcasts are released weekly, and we are always interested in what our audience has to say about pubs as well. Take note, you can take part as well. So how do you contribute to the Our Pubs Speak Out podcast? You can WhatsApp us on 07766 07 3815. Leave your story in the form of a voice message or voice note. 5 mins is approximately the maximum time length. If you're cut off or have a longer story, message back and continue where you left off. Please include as much detail about your experience as possible and avoid recording in noisy places or a moving vehicle. I recommend subscribing to the PUBS Advisory Service. It's the most extensive pub service offering more than just representation. We have online calculators, document banks and other resources for those interested in running a pub business. You can claim all of the costs of subscribing back as a business expense. Some of the WhatsApp content will make it into special episodes of my podcast, exclusive only to subscribers of PUBS Advisory Service. A paid-for subscription gives you early access to episodes, plus online Q&As where I answer listeners' questions about the industry. Hello, this is Chris from the Our Pubs podcast. Today I'm joined by Dale Harvey, who is 3 years into his epic Great British Pubs Crawl, which has been running since March 2022. Dale, how many pubs have you done so far? Where are you up to?
6,270 as of close of play on Saturday.
I like a man who knows his figures, and you've seen a lot of figures here. That's an epic amount of pubs. I mean, how many pints do you think you've sunk? Do you keep a tally?
Well, I mean, on average, I have a half in each. So, I mean, the easiest way would just be to take half of that and say that's probably the amount of pints in the 3 years so far. So, I mean, there have been the odd Jack Daniels, there's been the odd vodka, there's been the odd Jaeger bomb or 20 along the way, probably. But yeah, if you generally said the average is about a half a pint in every pub, then you wouldn't be far wrong.
So we're speaking on a Monday, last day of June. This is a sober day for you. You don't have a beer on a Monday. Is that the rule?
No, I try to have Sundays and Mondays. I get home on a Sunday usually from wherever I've been. So I try to have Sundays off and Mondays off. And then I'm sometimes still at home on a Tuesday. But I have got an entire fridge full of craft beer at home that needs drinking. And my wife keeps constantly saying to me, will you please drink some of these beers? So Tuesday will probably end up clearing a few of the beers out of the fridge. So
that's calling to you. Are these beers you picked up along the way, or ones you bought yourself?
Well, yeah, they're some beers I've picked up along the way, but I've got a craft beer subscription with Bruiser, who are an absolutely wonderful subscription service, where every month you pick a box from a different brewery and it turns up straight to your door. So get to discover a lot of great new breweries that way.
Oh, fantastic. Oh, good. Yeah, I mean, the subscription thing was it was in the ascendancy a few years ago. Every man and his wife seemed to be doing that. On the subject of wife, you have Holly. She's not with us today, but Holly joins you on your crawl as well and can be seen, I think, in some of your videos on social media. That's correct.
Yeah, you'll often see Holly lurking around in the background of the video. She's a little bit camera shy when it comes to speaking, so she doesn't tend to say a lot on the videos. I do try and force the issue occasionally, but I normally end up when the camera stops rolling, getting a slap on the arm and say stop doing that. So we just tend to keep Holly in the background too, and she's in the photos to look pretty. It balances the photos out at least.
Oh, fantastic. I mean, you must have very sore thumbs, Dale. I mean, the amount of messages and social media coverage you do, you have an epic amount of followers. I think you said, was it 200,000 plus now? Or?
Yeah, between all of the social media now, it's about 200,000 now. So, yeah, it's a constant stream of things to do, always apps to open and upload something onto. Otherwise, yeah, they sort of get fallen by the wayside.
And this is obviously the social media, the electronic world. That wasn't your original day job. I mean, before you got into the crawl, you were a publican yourself. And you'd said to me you'd operated a few pubs. You'd obviously done some really busy sites like the City of London. And then obviously dotted around. What was your favourite? Which sort of style of pub suited you the best as a publican?
I mean, I've always been a fan of history and things like that. So anything that I ever had that was old, I said, man, the best pub I ever ran. I was there when SFI had the Minories down on the bridge, literally built into the railway arches. I don't know if you know it, but it's a fantastic little pub right by Tower Bridge. An absolute stunner of a place, and I loved being there. But I mean, I did all my training with Whitbreads, with Beefeater. That was my first ever pub as a Beefeater. So yeah, I've done all sorts of styles. But I think if I ever go back in, ever get my own thing again, it'd probably be a micro pub and it'd probably be a craft beer one, craft beer and good cask ale. So yeah, all sorts of styles. I've covered a wide range.
I bet you've seen pretty much every type of pub there is to offer. I mean, that's an epic man. I've dealt with thousands of publicans over the years, but I've not visited thousands of pubs like you have. I mean, you're way ahead of me there in terms of where you're at. I mean, what was that spark then back in March 2022? There you are sitting at home. You sat up in bed and went, Christ, I'm going on a pub crawl. What, is that how it was?
Oh, there were a couple of factors, mitigating factors that sort of all meshed into one with that, really. So we've been going out, me and Holly, on a Saturday night just around Nottingham for several months, and every week we would end up going to the same 4 pubs, and it got a bit soul destroying in the end. There was a place in Nottingham called Mojo, and it's not even a terrible place, but I got so bored of going to Mojo. It was just the very thought of going and ending up in Mojo till 2 a.m. again on a Saturday night was literally crushing my spirit. So I just said to her, "Look, can we not just go somewhere else?" And she looked at me horrified. What do you mean go somewhere else? I'm like, "Well, we live in a big city centre with hundreds of pubs. Why are we going to the same 4?"
Mm-hmm.
And then that just happened to be that the next day, I think the Nottinghamshire Live, the local paper, they shared an article that said the best 5 pubs in Nottinghamshire. And I obviously had a beer at the time, and I got on my high horse and was like, "How on earth do they know what the best 5 pubs in Nottinghamshire are? There is no way that they have been to all the pubs in Nottinghamshire." And I went, "You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go to all the pubs in Nottinghamshire." And Holly sort of looked at me and went, "Of course you are, dear." And the great Nottinghamshire pub crawl was born that day.
And then it got out of hand. I suppose it's a hobby out of control somewhat. So you end up ticking off Nottingham and going wider and wider and wider. I mean, we got to meet each other through social media. You know, this thing that we've all learned to live with somewhat. And a mutual friend of ours, Mark Dodds, who's a former publican like yourself, and extremely well travelled and visits an awful lot of venues. Again, you two put me to shame. I mean, I'm an advisory service for sure in my day job, but absolutely, you guys are absolutely out there. But I think this belies something. As you mentioned, as Holly was a little reticent, but you were just like, no, let's go, because you've been a publican, you've walked through many doors already, and so for you, it was like it was a point of interest and difference. You're getting out there. So when did you first develop your message that comes across really strongly now in the pubs crawl to support pubs? Use your local. When did that message come about? Was it halfway through Nottingham, or was it a bit later on?
I mean, I suppose it was one of the other reasons for us doing it, because we did get very down and very despondent when we'd sort of drive out somewhere. We'd drive past so many closed down buildings on the side of the road and constantly see the pubs putting the signs up. So I mean, I know the industry's hard. The industry's been hard for 30 years. It's not a new sort of, whoa, suddenly the industry has gone and got a lot tougher. The industry's always been hard, but it is getting harder. And just seeing the amount that are closed down was really upsetting. So I said, look, at the end of the day, as the social media following grew, then the message kind of grew with it of like, look, as much as I'm enjoying this, as much as it started, it wasn't a job to begin with, it was a hobby. As much as we're loving this hobby of getting out there and doing this, there is a stronger message that needs to be put out there to people. And yeah, the message kind of grew along with that, really, of look, maybe I have got a voice here. Maybe there is a platform and there is the ability now to speak to a wider audience and just sort of try and hammer this home that unless we all do more, unless the government do more, then we are going to lose another, an unquotable amount, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely, Dale. And I mean, this message of yours, as you say, it's grown. It's become a little political as well along the way. You've now got a petition. How's the petition going? What do you need people to do?
I mean, the petition is not going anywhere near as well as it should do for a guy with 200,000 social media followers. We need to get to 100,000 signatures. And the thing is, I say on my social media, there must be 20, 30,000 publicans or people who work in pubs, at least, I would say, follow me. The petition is still sat at around 5,000 signatures. It's been out for 6 weeks now. It's a really poor showing from people. And all I'd say is, like, I'm willing to put the hours in. I'm willing to put the time in. I'm willing to, I said, I've been to Westminster now. I've sat on the balcony out there, spoken to an MP, and we had a long conversation where she basically said to me, look, you get this to 100,000 signatures, and rather than MPs discussing the petition in Parliament, you can come. You can come and discuss it with them, which I think would be beneficial for the fact that I said I've been in and around this industry since I was 16 years old now.
Mm.
Politicians, for all the will in the world, they're not publicans. They've never worked in hospitality. The majority of them, they don't understand hospitality. So how can they possibly have a proper debate and cover everything that needs to and grasp an understanding of what it is that we suffer with when they've never lived through it or experienced it?
Absolutely.
So
I
all I'll
think,
say to people is, please go and sign that petition, get us to 100,000 signatures, and let us have a proper voice of someone who has worked in this industry in Westminster.
well, I'll be putting the address or the link to the petition up on the YouTube version of the podcast, and actually on the Pubs Advisory Service website as well, so people can click on that. So Dale, please send me that link so we make
Yeah,
sure
well,
that.
very much,
So
yeah.
here's me waving a yellow card from my side of things to everybody, saying, look, if you follow and supporting what Dale's doing, or you work in this industry, you love this industry, absolutely. It takes what? How many seconds?
It takes less than a minute, including getting your email through from them, clicking on it to confirm your email address and go, and it's done then, yeah. So less than a minute.
quicker than you can down a pint. I think
Exactly.
that's
Well, just about, yeah, just about quicker.
I was going to say your drinking speed is obviously tempered somewhat, because as you admit, you're only having halves in each pub. Do you often get your money get refused? I mean, I know you tell me you go out and you pay for all these drinks, but people, do they try to give you a free one all the time?
I mean, I said there are, because now, obviously, because people know what I'm doing and when I come, I think there are people that want to buy me a drink, so to speak. And that is lovely, but it really, honestly, it's not necessary. It's very, very nice when people do it, and I do appreciate it. But we started it with a view to helping keep the industry going and putting some money in the till. There's camera vouchers, 50p off. I mean, I've got a whole A4 sheet of camera vouchers of 50p off. But people always say, oh, you're a camera member. I said, yeah, but I don't want a discount. I don't want it because I know that every penny at the moment, every penny counts. So I don't use my camera vouchers. Literally, they're sat on the side over there. I don't need 50p off a pint or something like that. I'd rather that 50p goes to keeping the pub alive.
Yeah, no, that's a really good point. In fact, myself, when I do get out and about, and I'm recognised in certain pubs, landlords want to buy me a drink. I often try to refuse this, and if they insist, I often give a tip to the staff. So I balance it that way.
Yeah, I always make sure that you try and give the staff something.
Absolutely,
if that does happen. Yeah,
pay it forward. Supporting this industry is absolutely crucial. So your tour has been, you've got into a real groove of it. I mean, 3 years. I mean, that's fantastic, and you've still stuck at it. Do you find your rate of climb has declined or increased? I mean,
no, it's massively increased. Massively increased. The first year, I think, when it was we were just doing Nottinghamshire, we did 700, I think, in the first year.
Yeah.
And we'd often said some nights we'd sort of go out 3 or 4 nights a week, but Holly had come, so we'd drive. I'd normally drive, and we'd only get 4 or 5 pubs a night done then. So the rate now, obviously, I leave my house normally on a Wednesday morning. I don't get back till a Sunday afternoon. Hotels all over the country, normally Premier Inns and travel lodges, because they're just easy. I know there's Wi-Fi, and I quite often don't get to them to check in until nearly midnight. So I know they hold the room and things like that for you anyway. And there's always a reception member on. So yeah, the rate is much, much faster now. And it's getting faster. The more I can get out there, the more pubs. I try and aim now for about 70 new pubs a week. So
wow, that's some rate. I mean, your stamina, though. I mean, goodness me, it's a marathon.
It's definitely a marathon, yeah.
Well, I absolute kudos to you for doing that. I mean, let's keep on this political point for a minute. So your message has developed and it's grown, and people can hear more what you have to say in support of pubs, on your social feeds. The petition is out there, easy to find, to find. So right here, right now, who have you managed to get hold of? Have you been invited to Westminster? I mean, have you heard from any ministers or any officials?
Yes, about 6 or 7 weeks back now, we were sat on the balcony at Westminster with Tonya Antonazzi, the leader of the All Parliamentary Beer Group. Mm-hmm. She's a Labour MP for Gower, down in South Wales.
Yep.
A lovely lady. To be fair, she said all the right things. She took on board. I gave her a list of 10 ways that I thought would. That there are ways to sort of try and help the industry, and she sort of took 3 out of the 10 and wrote them down and said, look, I might be able to go somewhere with this one. This might be doable. So at the moment, I'm leaving it with her. So
as you say, she's the chair of the All-Party Parliamentary beer
Yes.
group in Parliament, which I think, from memory, has the widest or the biggest membership of MPs of any or APP group. Not
Yeah.
surprising because it
So,
is.
so they do like beer. They do like pubs. Yeah, but well, we'll see.
Indeed,
We'll see.
indeed, and obviously it pops up in the news every now and then. There are multiple bars and restaurants in the Palace of Westminster anyway. So yeah, they're definitely enmeshed in that. So you've met with Antonia down there in Westminster. Do you hope to meet higher up, like with ministers themselves? Have you got any plans? Have you tried to affect any sort of connection there?
I mean, never say never. The more people we can get hold of, the more people we can spread the message to, and the more people we can try and sort of hammer home that the industry is not going to cope with the strain of what it's under much longer, the better, really. So I'm always up for conversations. I'm always trying to get hold of people. I said, I mean, I would love to sit down with some of the people from Canberra. I'd love to sit down with the chair of Canberra, Ash Corbett Collins, but at the moment, I don't know what his schedule's like, but my schedule is ludicrously insane. So just trying to find time when I can sort of even approach him and say, look, can we have a face to face? Can we have a sit down? Finding the time in the diary is the difficult bit at the moment. But I'd love to sit down with him.
Have you done St Albans yet as on your tour?
I have done St Albans. Went to the Yale Fighting Cocks, obviously, which another one that lays claim to being the oldest in the UK, and we'll say lays claim in inverted commas and keep it like that, because I think I've been in the oldest pub in the UK in inverted commas about 8 times, and they're scattered all around the country.
So Ash won't be able to join you on a St Albans tour because you've already done it.
Well, I mean, if that's where Ash wants to meet me, I'm more than happy to go and do another tour of St Albans.
You might double up. Fair enough. Okay.
Yeah,
have you found yourself on the subject of doubling up? You found yourself accidentally going back to the same pubs and think, I've been here before and just forgotten?
No, I'm pretty good because there's always a list on my socials of ones I've been to. So I normally tend to bring the list back up before I go to because I said towns and cities do need going to, and I do revisit some of the same ones if they were good and I wanted a better video for YouTube or something like that. I do go back, but now I'm pretty good at remembering where I've been and what I've done. And I was even on You Bet, the TV show, filmed it last week, and there's a challenge in there for me to remember a little bit about pubs and stuff of places I've been. So that should air in September, hopefully. And you'll then see if my memory was any good or not.
Yeah, we won't spoil it. Did you enjoy that more than doing your social media?
I mean, it was a completely different experience, but yeah, whether or not you'll have to wait and see whether or not my brain is quite as good at remembering pubs that I've been to as what I thought it might be. There's a slight catch in there somewhere. So,
did they give you a beer in the green room?
They didn't. It was we actually filmed outside the Woolpack.
Oh, did you?
On the Emmerdale set. So,
on the Emmerdale set,
and it's spoiler. It's not a real pub. It's just a shell. So
no, you don't.
Yeah, no beer there, I'm afraid.
Are you a publican navigating the choppy waters in the UK pub industry, or perhaps you're looking to get into the trade for the first time? The PUBS Advisory Service is here to help. We provide essential advice and support, from licensing and legal queries to tenancy agreements and business growth strategies. Want to unlock exclusive insights, in-depth guides, and all our past podcast episodes, including hidden extras? Subscribe to PASS today. Membership gives you unparalleled access to expert advice, ensuring your pub thrives. Visit pubs.expert to learn more and subscribe. Don't miss out. Empower your pub business with PUBS Advisory Service. Oh dear, what a crushing disappointment. Are you hoping to visit all the TV boozers? I'd
love to. I mean, I was always a big EastEnders fan growing up. I've always dreamed of perhaps being in the Vic one day. So,
well, if any of the script writers are watching this podcast, maybe there's a bit of a challenge there. Get you shoehorned into your crew coming into the pub. Why not? Why not? I think what's really fascinating for me is when publicans, and I still call you a publican, when they come forward and want to bring this trade to the front. That, to me, is really where it's important. I see a lot of the voices over the years, I'd even count myself in that. They're not the operators, okay? And I never wanted to be a spokesperson. I had a particular angle for helping with reform, but I never wanted to end it. I think publicans should lead, whether they're current or former, because they know this industry. They've done the late hours, the crazy days, the manic Friday before Christmas. They've done all of these things, and they've worn it. And I think it's really vitally important that people like yourself, Mark Dodd's former publican. There's Paul Crossman at the Campaign for Pubs. Dawn Hopkins, a shout for her as well. Former publicans and current publicans, they should be the ones speaking to power because it's unimpeachable. You know,
Yeah.
you've got that perspective, and I think it's really important that you guys and girls come forward and do that more and more. And so, more power to you, Dave. I'm embarrassed I didn't hear about you earlier, but then social media for me is a kind of a bit of a fixed point. It tends to revolve around a very few small groups on Facebook and not so much the wider sort of social stuff. But it's a good tool. I'm glad to see you're using it really well. In regards to the next 6 months ahead, if you get the call from Westminster and someone says, "Yeah, come down, want to speak to the minister," you're going to drop everything, are you? You're going to be down?
Absolutely, because at the end of the day, that's the whole point of it. Is the mission is to do what we can to help save them. So if someone's willing to listen and there's an opportunity to get in there and speak further with them and just sort of lay it out in black and white for them and say, look, this is what we need and we need it now. Then yeah, obviously that is now the primary focus is obviously around making sure that we save as many pubs as possible and keep people in jobs and things like that. And I mean, that should be at the top of the government's list as well, keeping people in jobs, keep pubs open, because how many people in this country and started their work experience journey working in the hospitality industry, whether it be in a kitchen or as a waiter or a waitress or a member of bar staff or something like that. The hospitality industry has provided the first taste of work to so many young people in this country, and it will continue to do so if there are places for them to do that.
Correct, absolutely correct. And the majority of my children have all had weekend jobs, Saturday, Sunday jobs, working in very busy pubs, running tables, dealing with adults, dealing with all of that environment.
And it gives you, I mean, it's the social skills that it gives you as well. It gives you the confidence you need to speak to people, the ability to stand in front and deal with people of all different walks of life, because all different walks of life walk into a pub and stand there in front of you. So it gives you, it sets you up, I think. It certainly did for me. It set me up for the person I am today. And without the hospitality industry and working in a pub from when I was 16, I probably wouldn't be the man I am today. So I'm desperate to do what we can to keep them all open.
Absolutely. And what are your top issues you want to speak to power? What are they going to be? Is it costs? Is it wages? Is it training? Go on. What would you throw out?
I mean, it's rising costs, isn't it? Constantly. It's a constant barrage of rising costs and extra things that are put on. I mean, I don't object to people earning the proper wage. So the national living wage going up and things like that, yeah, absolutely fine. But if that's going to keep rising so that you put more money in the staff pocket and things, there needs to be a relief with the hospitality industry, because no one who runs a pub wants to work 80 hours a week and then sit there at the end of that week and go, can I afford to pay my bills? It needs to be sustainable, and it's very well passing it down to the staff so there's more money in their pocket. I get that. I'm totally for that. But there needs to be some form of relief higher up in the chain where the people who are actually putting the 80-hour weeks in, they actually have a nice wage in their pocket at the end of it as well.
It's become a very low margin sector, there's incredible turnover, but
for the effort that is put into keeping a pub, and I know how hard it is, for the effort that is put into keeping those lights on and keeping that door open and keeping your customers happy, the wage that they take after time at the end of the week is minimal, and it's not good enough.
No, and I'm glad that at least in terms of your campaigning, actually the money is uppermost, because let's face it, I think that message can be deleted and lost sometimes when you're talking to politicians. They kind of think, oh, it's a lovely thing you do for the community, almost like it's a charitable service. It's commercial. This is commercial industry.
The general public who have never worked in the industry don't get it a lot of the time either. And you'll see people complain about beer prices. If this is an independent pub, that landlord isn't sat there at the end of the week, sat on a big pile of gold, flipping it like Scrooge McDuck and saying, oh, look at the gold I've made this week. He's put those prices and set those prices to keep his door open, to keep the lights on. And he's still taking very little at the end of it. So people can go in and moan about the price of a pint, but it isn't the pub, it isn't the landlord that you should be angry with.
No.
It's the people who are making it so that it is impossible for the independent breweries not to charge more. It's impossible for the independent pubs not to charge more. This is where the problem lies. It doesn't lie with the landlord of your local who sat there and went, well, I've had to put 20p on a pint again this month. It doesn't lie.
And that probably wasn't enough.
No,
to be
no.
honest.
Wait, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be
They
enough.
do it very reluctantly. And in fact, my own straw poll of operators is that in the last 5 years of price increases, have you been able to pass on 100%? I haven't. I met one publican actually who admitted that they could do it, but literally nobody else could do it. So that means they're losing GP, they're losing their profit in amongst that. So on the subject of prices and pints and whatnot, what's the most you've paid for a half in Britain?
I mean, I drink a lot of craft beer. And it's an unfair comparison for me because
Oh,
I
good.
drink. I'll go in and I'll
Let's
find
stick
something
to
that's
your just your
15%
cruel.
or.
Yeah, stick to your cruel, not your pleasure. What on the cruel? Has anything you've gone wow that much?
Well, I mean, obviously, again on the crawl, if I find a craft beer, I'll go with a heavy
You'll still
craft
go
beer.
with
So
that.
if it was a generic pint, say like I don't know. I mean, I will stomach a San Miguel or a Moretti or a Peroni or something like that sometimes. I mean, you're talking London. You're talking £4.50, £5 for a half in some of the more affluent areas around there for a premium lager.
Wow, wow.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
that feels steep.
yeah. I once paid £12 for a single vodka and Diet Coke somewhere,
Did you?
and I said yeah for Holly, and I think I said to Holly that's the last time you're coming out with me. Yeah. So yeah,
Were
£12
you on
I
a
think.
rooftop overlooking some incredible
Don't even think we
natural
were.
wonder?
No, I can't even remember where it was now. But yeah, I remember sort of getting that and being like, how much? Right. Oof.
Yeah. Well, that can happen, doesn't it? Oh my goodness. I
Yeah.
mean, that's a great example. And for sure there are, as we know, you would know from your time in London, there are parts of London which are not catering to the workers. They are tourist traps. You know, they're
Yep.
in those main drags and those parts of London where pretty much they'll try and charge what they can get away with because, you know, that they've got that kind of demographic going past their front door. So you've been like as you say, ticking off this huge list. Is there a sort of method in your madness? Are you trying to do one county at a time? Or are you just dotting all over the place, left, right, north, south, east, west, all points?
There is a method to the madness in that I said we've now got followers of all over, and it said it's not just one area in the country that needs the help and the advertising and support. Is it? So one week I'll try and go north, following week I'll try and go south, east, west, try and spread it around a little bit. So I mean, dotted over the this is what I've got upcoming in July that's just sat here. So Wednesday I'm in Brighton, Thursday I'm in Portsmouth, Friday I'm in Coventry, Saturday I'm in Elland, which is Yorkshire, Tuesday York, Wednesday Newcastle, Thursday that week Whitley Bay, Friday Nottingham, Saturday Ilkley, which is Yorkshire again, Leeds way. Then the following week it's Ipswich, Colchester, 2 days in London, and the week after that Manchester, Oldham, and Liverpool. So yeah, all over, all over.
Well, I think it's suffice to say, if everyone follows your lead, we get this support. Your crawl will never end.
No, I don't think it will. I said now it's become sort of my calling in life. I think now. I mean, mum and dad, God rest their souls, they always said one day you'll find something you've got a bit of enthusiasm for and you want to do and whatever. And yeah, I mean, it was. I was always passionate about pubs and stuff anyway. But yeah, I used to flit around between different companies, between different pubs. And I worked for all of them. I worked for Marston's, who are by far the worst company I ever worked for in my life. They just don't get it. They just do not understand. They're just a really poor property management company these days, and they're not even very good at that. But yeah, I worked for Michelin Butler. They were great to work for. Whitbreads. I used to flip between companies quite a lot. And SFI, obviously, when they were around, and stuff like that. So my mum and dad were always like, one day you'll find something and you'll stick to it. And now I've found this and I'm going to stick to it. It's now my calling in life is going to be this until the day I drop, I think. So
Well, it puts a smile on your face, that's for sure. I've never seen you not smiling. I think in anything you've done, I've never seen you leave a pub with a grimace, thinking, "Oh wow, I wish I hadn't been in there." But
wow,
it must cross your mind
you should see
occasionally.
me come out a couple of those Stonegate slug and lettuces a few times. There's a slight grimace away from the camera sometimes.
So you're putting on your game face, no, somewhat. But
I'm a positive guy, and I always think that the whole point of doing this was to help the pubs and to try and spread a positive message. So I'll put up that I'm going to some town sometimes, and someone will comment that, oh, I wouldn't bother, like, and oh, what's the, and they say, oh, don't go there, it's rough or it's rubbish. If you go to any town or city in this country with a positive outlook and you go to have a good time, you can have a good time. But you have to go there with the mindset of, you know what, I'm going to look for the positives in this. So anytime I go into a pub, even if it isn't my cup of tea or my half pint, so to speak, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to say, look, let's find the positives for this and try and, I mean, if there are negatives and I feel, and I will point them out, but not to a sort of a point where it gets into a rant, or you say this pub's rubbish or anything like that. It's a case of, right, I think they're doing this badly. However, let's look at here. This is a positive. The staff are really good. This is a good thing. They're currently changing this. So I'll always try and highlight, by the end of it, anything I write, I'll always try and end on the positive.
No, that's a very good point to make. There were obviously a few other people in recent years that have gone on epic, bar crawls, pub crawls. Have you bumped into any of them just by accident? Did you?
Yeah, well, not necessarily by accident. I said, I mean, obviously, social media now, you all know what
you're
doing and things like that. So, yeah, my good buddy Thomas that runs Historic Pub Crawls. I went to his book launch a few weeks back. He's such a lovely guy. He's out there flying the flag, and I actually took him along to Westminster with me, and he sat out there on the balcony and chatted with Tonya as well, and gave us sort of his insight into it. But there are other guys out there, flying the flags. There's a guy called Micro Pub Adventures called Scott, who's from Yorkshire. He's out an awful lot. A guy called Neil's Real Ale page. He's on Facebook and stuff. He does a lot of good work. A guy called Finds Me in the Pub on Facebook. You'll find him. Danny. He's a good guy. So yeah, I've bumped into a lot of them now and hooked up. And right down south, lovely pubs. They're a great couple. They get out there and do good stuff as well. So anybody that can get out there and help spread the message is all right by me. And I think
if you're like me, you're a lover of pubs and great British beer and stuff like that. Absolutely, there's a whole gamut, a universe of people to follow and get some inspiration from. So I'm asking you mentioned micros. Have you visited Martin Hillier down in Herne at the Butcher's Arms yet?
I haven't as yet. No,
the god, the
very first,
the modern founder of the micropub movement. Yeah. Well, bear in mind, do give him notice, because obviously some days, being a micropub, he isn't open. So, but yeah,
I've been to the second oldest, Chesterfield, the one in Chesterfield.
Yep.
Yeah, I've been at the second oldest, but no, haven't made it down to the founder in Herne yet.
Well,
it's coming though. It's coming.
Well, if you haven't got his number, I'll definitely pass it on to you, and you can hook up and get down there to the micro tour. He knows all the spots, and he'll probably even join you. I wouldn't be surprised.
Excellent. That's what I like to hear.
There's a nice little strip there along that kind of Kent coastal area, between Thanet and further up towards the Medway towns. So it's a good spot of the world to drop around. I'm a Kentish lad myself by birth, so I do spend a fair amount of time when I'm not in Sussex, in Kent, checking out all the hospitality spots and revisiting things. So let me know when you come down Kent way as well, and I'll endeavour to be hooking up with you. So in an effort to kind of wrap up what you've been doing, any thoughts? What message would you like to end on here?
Just to touch back on the petition again. Really, it's honestly, this is. It might not seem that important to people, and they might get a bit despondent about petitions and things. But honestly, the message is there that if we get this to 100,000 signatures, we do have a voice for the industry then that actually has worked in the industry and can speak to them in Parliament and put this to them and hopefully get them to realise. So yeah, it's the petition is. It may sort of fall by the wayside sometimes with the amount of social media posts I put out on the individual bits about the pubs and the stuff that we do. But the petition, it's paramount that we get that up to that 100,000 signature mark by, I think it's mid-October. It needs to be there by. So
yeah,
if everybody listens to this podcast, if everybody who sees the link just takes 1 minute out of their day to go and sign that will help and share it, get it out there. Said on the top of my Facebook page, you can also there's a QR code, there's a poster. That's my cover photo. Download the poster, put it up on the wall in your pub. Get your customers to scan the QR code when they come in and sign it. Let's really make sure that we've got a proper voice and we've got the knowledge to be able to get the message across to MPs and say, look, we aren't going to cope at the way we are for much longer.
Yeah, I think having experienced lobbying myself and trodden up and down wonky corridors in Westminster for more time than was probably good for me, I would implore people to take on board this very key point that not all MPs can respond and not all MPs will support you, but it's a numbers game. Because many years ago, when myself and a group of other publicans were told we didn't have a chance at getting reform in this sector, we actually only had to convince about 40 MPs out of 640 odd to actually vote our way, because the other two groups were going to vote on party lines. And what we actually needed was a little bit of a rebellion, which we got. and we got new law. So it's actually fair to say in the MPs in the areas that I've lived in, very few of them have engaged positively on pub issues that I've put to them, if at all. Almost silence. But I've never stopped writing and I've never stopped putting my point across because I know it is a numbers game. And I would urge people, if they've had kind of negative experiences of dealing with, elected representatives, ignore that, park it, just sign the petition. Let's get this done. Let's get the win. Let's get Dale in there because we need more operators like you, Dale, and the others to get back into Parliament and really put that voice across because that's what's crucial to saving pubs is actually MPs and politicians hearing from publicans, not from lobbyists and other types of spokespeople for the industry, but actually directly from the coalface. So, look, Dale, it's been absolutely fantastic for you to join me on the podcast today. I hesitate to say I would get an update from you, but obviously, if I just watch your feed, I get an update all the time. But I'd love to have you back on. I mean, maybe it's entirely possible you and me will meet at some point face to face, share a few beers.
Definitely.
Hit a few pubs. I know a lot of good operators over in Kent. I'm sure they'll be delighted to have you. There's a very active LVA in Kent, and I'm sure all their members would be delighted to try and accommodate you in some way if you want to have a blazing couple of days down in Kent.
Well, I said it's down for mid-August. Well, 21st of August I should be in Maidstone. 22nd I should be in Canterbury. 23rd down in Eastbourne. So around that area. So.
Well, brilliant. I'll definitely be down for Eastbourne. And if I can't do the other bits in Kent, I'll put you in touch with the Kent LVA. You can speak with the chairman there, and I'm sure his members will just be welcoming you with open arms. They're delighted to have you come around. Great bunch of publicans over there. Really enjoy dealing with the Kent LVA when I can. So, Dale, thanks for that. Where are you off to tomorrow again?
Tomorrow I'm doing Chichester. Chichester, and then Portsmouth.
Or chai, as the locals call it down there.
Chai. Okay, I'll try and remember that. Yeah.
If you want to be a real local, call it chai.
Yeah, the amount of times I go to somewhere and I did Newcastle, and obviously I'm from South. I called it Newcastle. The first 8 comments or whatever on the YouTube video where there's no R in Newcastle. So yeah, I have to try and sort of blend me language in to fit with the locals a lot of the time.
Oh, well, if you're stuck for how to speak Geordie, I'm sure Mark Dodds will help you out when he's available. No problem at all. Dale, lovely to have you on. Shame Holly couldn't join you, but it is what it is. And look forward to getting an update with you, at least face to face, and have you back on the podcast later on when you've hit, 10,000 pubs?
Well, yeah, won't be long, hopefully.
And 100,000 signatures. Let's not forget. 100,000
signatures. Yeah, let's make sure we get that 100,000 signatures before we get to that 10,000th pub. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. So let's save Dale's liver.
Yeah, definitely.
Before signatures first.
Signatures first.
Thanks. Yeah. Thank you, Dale. Lovely to meet you again. Chris. And we'll speak again soon. Cheers.
Thanks a lot, buddy. Cheers.
Hello once again. This is Chris from Pubs Advisory Service. Thanks ever so much for listening to the podcast, and I really hope you enjoyed it. If you want to get in touch with the show, please use WhatsApp. You can contact us on 07766 073815. That is 07766 073815. You'll also find this number in the links and on our webpage, pubs.expert/podcast. Thanks again.